You can start if you want.
All right. Hey, we're live. Is that what you mean by I can start?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
I'm watching
Yeah.
the comments. So if anybody
Cool. Yeah.
has anything to say, we'll respond.
Yeah. So, welcome to this live with me and Chef Julia. We're going to talk about defying some of the biggest things that I believe hold back a lot of people. Age and it's Bundle Week. Do you want to share a little bit about Bundle Week, Julia?
Sure. Let's see. Did I bring my? Oh yeah, here. Bundle Week is the vegan health bundle. It's only on for March 1st through the 10th, so it's time limited. And no matter how many times we go live and talk about it and post about it, every year, the day after the bundle is over, I'll get a bunch of messages from people saying, "Can I still get the bundle?" And I have to tell them no. Once it's gone, it's gone. And the deal of it is 150 products like ebooks. Here's my ebook that I printed out. There are 150 things in the bundle, including Rachel's 5 ebooks, my ebook, a couple videos of mine. There are people that have contributed things valued at $250 or even more. Books, just a lot of stuff. And if you were to try to buy it all separately, it would cost $8,000. So really, for $49, you could just get my contribution, and a lot of people would get this anyway, the ebook with the 2 videos. They would buy it anyway. So, if you're going to get it anyway, and you get all this other stuff with it, it's really a bargain. It's like going into the store and they said the sale today is 99% off. Who wouldn't want to buy 99% off stuff? So that's how I look at it. And then you pick and choose what you want out of the bundle. So if it's something that you really like, you can download it or print it or whatever you want to do. And if some of it you don't want, you just kind of scroll through it. You don't have to keep it all on your device. And I see we've got some people. Rebecca from Maine. Rebecca said she purchased the bundle yesterday. Thank you, Rebecca. And we're putting our bundle links on here. I put mine on there. It just says transactions and send out. Mine's not personalized. I'm sure Rachel's is more techie than mine. So feel free to purchase the bundle from either one of us. We are friends and we want to share the wealth, so we don't care. We're happy to be spending some time together talking and talking about what matters to us. And so we're happy with whatever you decide to do. It doesn't really matter.
I love that.
Oh, and
I
my
love.
ebook contribution is called Plant-Based Japanese 2. And it really is the story of the recipes from my Japanese mother, and she was so talented. And not only was she talented, she was so pretty inside and out. She was I always envied her because she was so beautiful and she was so nice and she was talented. She was an artist in every sense of the word, and she could make anything: garden, pottery, crafts, paintings. And she was at one time a tailor, and she made clothing. Anything that anybody wanted to do, she could do it and cook. So unfortunately, I didn't end up with all of her talents. I can do some of that stuff, but not like she could. She was artistic with it.
I wanted to interject on that one, Julia,
Yeah.
because you described your mother of
Uh-huh.
being like artistic and beautiful and nice and like all of these wonderful qualities. My brain was saying, just like you, like just like you, and then you're like, well, I don't have these qualities. Yes, you do. You're absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like you're your mother. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Rachel. I appreciate that. But if you knew my mother, you would say I'm kind of like, sort of like her, but she was a couple steps above. But I try to be like her, and it's funny now that she's no longer around. I think I'm more like her. I'm trying to be more like her in the good parts. She did have some. She was a Japanese mother, so she had some quirks. I think have you heard of like the Asian? My hair's kind of crazy. Have you heard of like the Asian mothers? How they're kind of like helicopter moms, and they're very strict about everything. Well, she was kind of like that too. She was very strict. So anyway, but she had a lot of good points. So we got some comments coming. Rebecca says, I agree. I don't know what she agrees to, but she agrees with something we said. And
This is what I said.
oh,
How you
okay.
have all your cool qualities.
Well,
That's what I used to believe that she's agreeing with.
yeah, thanks, Rachel. I appreciate it. So it's been
Yeah.
a hectic bundle week so far, and it's only on day 2. I don't know how I'm going to survive until March the 10th, but I'm doing my best and trying to share what other contributors to the bundle are doing, and trying to go live with people and all the stuff that we ought to be doing. And it's actually a lot of fun too. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun. I love, and I related so much to what you are saying about the mother. I love my mother. Anyone who knows me on the internet, I love my mother too.
Hmm.
And if I could be like 1/4 is awesome as her, then well, maybe actually I already am. Then I'm doing great. Like, so I love that you have this connection to your mother, and I love your early, as I was like going through your ebook in the bundle, your Japanese ebook, and like thinking like, oh, what do I want to make out of this bundle, out of this ebook? I loved and this is what I talk about all the time, like your connection to your culture, to your history, to your roots. And what I really enjoyed of your ebook is reading the story, seeing the photo of your parents, seeing the photo, and then like seeing you and your mother in
Hmm.
her face. So that's super lovely. And what I've put in the ebook too, one of my contributions also is help, like from my mother's teachings, my plant-based Lebanese.
Hmm.
That in common where like, my mother taught me how to be a Lebanese chef. She
Hmm.
taught me, and then I plantified it into
Yeah.
what works, what I would rather eat instead of like all of that raw meat.
Yeah. That's a meat-based culture, isn't it? Like as far as a lot of the recipes.
Oh yeah, and heavy on the oil too.
Hmm.
Heavy on the oil, and I am not, as most of us are not. I am not an oil fan.
Okay, we have Lydia saying hello from Montreal. Hi, Lydia. Glad you could join us.
Hey, Lydia. Yeah, so I want to jump into the topic of defying age and
Hmm.
disease
Okay.
through a based lifestyle. And the
Hmm.
bundle, what I love about the bundle, I'll link this in a little bit. What I love about the bundle is that as you embark on this journey, as a coach, I love to defy. I love to defy.
Hmm.
I love to defy the odds. I love to help people like, oh, let's defy these odds. Let's be different. Let's
Hmm.
overcome this. So the bundle gives a lot of segues, a lot of opportunity to be different, to eat different, to try different things, to get to know new influencers, to defy like what society tells us. And so you and I, when we talked about our topic, we said, let's talk about defying aging and disease.
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about what plant-based lifestyle means to you and how it helps you defy age or what that means to you.
Well, initially it started out, I was always kind of always thinking about being healthy just because I was in the military and I was a clinical social worker with a master's degree. So I was an educated person and I was always aware of healthy lifestyle. We had to run, we had to be fit, and we had to do all kinds of stuff. But living in America and eating out at restaurants, and I raised 4 children, so I was a busy mom. I was running all the time, running here and there, and I gained a lot of weight during my adult life to the point where I was kind of stuck around 180 pounds for a long time. And I'm only about 5'7", so I wasn't really so big that people would look at me like I needed to lose a lot of weight because it was all kind of distributed evenly, but I was a lot bigger than I am now. That's like 40 pounds more than what I weigh now. And it started to catch up with me with my health. So, for example, I would go to the doctor in my 40s and they would always say, oh, your cholesterol is high, like 240. your blood pressure's creeping up, like 140 over 90, and you're in the overweight or obese or not morbidly obese. What is it? Obese category. I'm past overweight. So, and I would just kind of listen to the doctor and say, oh yeah, I know, I'm going to work on it. And then I would go home and go on some kind of real strict calorie counting kind of a thing, where I would still eat everything but eat less of it. And even at one point, of course, throughout my life, I've done every kind of diet you can think of. In fact, there's a long YouTube video on my channel about my diet history. So if you really want to know about that, you can watch that. So I had all that in my life and always felt very dissatisfied with my weight. And then in 2017, I had read about the blue zones, and I had the books, Dan Buettner's books about the blue zones, the places in the world where people live to be 100 and were healthy in their old age. And so I kind of knew about that, and I started following a blue zones way of living and eating. And I was still eating, because in there they say you can still consume about 5% or 10% of animal products. And so I still had occasional fish or whatever. And then in 2018, I decided I was going to go 100% plant-based because things were not really improving that much. And I thought, well, I have to do something different. So I made all my chef business, which before that was omnivore, it was everything. I turned it into 100% plant-based in 2018, and I was conducting a lot of classes. I was doing demonstrations for the Blue Zone Project for the city of Fort Worth to become a Blue Zone city. And so I was going out in the community and doing plant-based cooking demos. And so I did that in 2018, and I started to feel better. I lost a few pounds, but didn't really get much below like 170, and I was kind of stuck there. And then of course, and this carried on throughout 2019, and I was starting to get a lot busier with my plant-based chef business. So people were starting to find me from all over the country, and things were really looking up. And then COVID happened. So, with COVID, I had to cancel all my classes, and I was stuck at home, and I started doing daily Facebook Live posts or videos where I would cook something every day. I cooked something for every day for 50 days in a row during COVID, just because I was stuck at home and people wanted something to do. So in 2020, I started to put on a little bit extra weight because I was home, and my husband, he was bringing home all kinds of restaurant food. And I was, it's not his fault, because we were bored, and I would say, he could say, I'll go to the Egyptian restaurant. What do you want? Oh, I'll have some hummus and this and that. And it would be plant-based, but it would be like swimming in oil. And so I was eating all that rich plant-based food. And then come about May 2020, I was just feeling so, heavy in my lab work. My most recent lab work showed that my cholesterol was like 211, and my blood pressure, it was always like a little elevated. So I thought, I need to do something. So I went on a 21-day challenge in May 18th of 2020, and I said, I'm just going to eat nothing but healthy plant-based stuff for 21 days and see what happens. And so I chose Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen for my 21-day challenge, and I put it on a support group that I already had called Chef Julia Support Group. And I said, for 21 days, I'm going to eat nothing but the Daily Dozen, exercise 90 minutes a day, and drink a lot of water, and really stay away from restaurant food, oil, because oil sneaks in so quickly. You can go without oil for so long, and then you'll go out to eat, and then there's this oily meal. So I said, no oil at all, and we'll see what happens. Well, 21 days later, my cholesterol was 170, so it went down that fast, and I had lost a few pounds, not very many, but my blood pressure was lower. I don't remember what it was, but I know it was lower. So I said, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to do this for as long as I need to get to where I want to be. So I just kept doing these 21-day challenges over and over and over, and people would join me, and they still do. I still do them. The next one is March 11th, the day after the bundle. So, but people would join me, and we would have a good time, and I would help them. I have like 7,000 people in that support group now that I help follow the 21-day challenge. And then, so long story short, eventually I got down to my weight now, which is in the like 143, 140, and somewhere around there. And I do 5 mile walks almost every day. And I lift weights at the gym twice a week. And sometimes I do a little weightlifting routine here. I have a little setup over here. So I've been doing all that stuff, and I feel great now. My cholesterol, last time I had it checked, was still really good. I haven't checked it in a while. They'll only do it once a year at my doctor's office, but I'm pretty, not concerned about it, because if you eat a whole food plant-based, no oil diet, your cholesterol is probably going to be pretty good. And my blood pressure this morning was 125/60, so that's very good. I'm going to turn 70 this year, and I'm in better shape than I was in my 40s as far as stamina, energy, muscle tone in my arms and legs and everything. So that's how I defied age, was to take control of my own behavior. Because if I hadn't done that, my family history is my father died at the age of 54 from lung cancer. My brother died at age 59, and he had an infection from being on kidney dialysis, and he had kidney failure from high blood pressure and other things. So there was that. And my mother, even though she ate healthy Japanese cooking, when they were in their 50s, my parents bought a restaurant, and it was like a Waffle House, Denny's, one of those kind of 24-hour open cafe type places. And it was open 24 hours a day, and she ate maybe 2 or 3 meals a day there for years. American greasy spoon food. Well, that messed her body up. She got diabetes, high cholesterol. She developed hardening of the arteries. She had all these problems with her veins. So by the time she was my age, she was starting to have heart attacks. And she finally died at the age of 81 of all these different things related to her diseases. And she had kidney failure at some point and was on dialysis. So she had a very tough last 5 or 6 years of her life. And so I certainly didn't want to see that happen to me. So because of all those things, I really embrace the whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating and living and exercising. And I guess you could say I'm more of a Dr. Greger, how not to die person, if anything, how not to age, how not to die. I try to follow that daily dozen every day, and it works really well for me. So that's how I keep it simple, and I teach others how to do that. So that's basically my defying age story. Oh, Rebecca says my brother's kidneys failed as well, and he went on dialysis. He passed from COVID at 64 years of age. So yeah, dialysis is terrible. You don't want to wish that on your worst enemy. It's miserable. And high blood pressure can cause kidney failure. I didn't know that until things happened to my brother. So, and he just didn't follow the doctor's instructions from the time he was diagnosed with high blood pressure, probably in his 20s. And he went for years, and he just sporadically, I don't think he took his medication like he was supposed to, and he never lost weight, and he was very overweight. So between those two things, it just damaged his internal organs. So what about you, Rachel?
I have some thoughts about what you said about your story, and I'll talk about disease after. But in terms of like, this is dying, right? Like dying. Dying, it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. And when I think about dying, the way that I would like to die is really peaceful and really, I don't want to die from disease. I don't want to die from like I don't want to say lack of, like it's not, there's not, I don't know if dignity is the right word. I don't want to be offensive, but I want to die with dignity for myself. Like I don't want to be on a bed, having to be like, uncontrollable bodies, situations. And I want to die like in peace and with dignity and like just peacefully sleep and just kind of go like in natural ways. And so often, especially in our culture, and thinking about like the diner that your parents own and the way that our culture is driven to eat, which is like quite an oil filled culture and um, and that's why like just cutting it out a little bit is a great first step.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but by eating, by making better choices, like our society it's almost like programmed that we'll die of some sort of disease and some sort of death and some sort of
Yeah.
we got to die from a heart attack or cancer or failure of the body. And it's like, actually, that's actually quite not normal.
No.
That's actually, we've normalized disease. We've normalized contracting disease, living with disease, fighting disease, beating disease. Oh, really, really what's natural and what's true and what's, and we can go back to Eastern culture. We can go back years. Like what's really true is defying disease and aging by eating more whole foods that are natural, safe, and so I really loved, I loved hearing your story about all of the situations, like the food and all the implications that came from that. And like we just don't have to do that. We don't have to. We don't have to die in like these intense, excruciating ways, like painful in a hospital.
Right.
We don't have to do that. Like you're about to be 70. You walk 5 miles a day. You have more energy than most 25-year-olds who are like couch potato bananas on TikTok. You're doing like, and it's because you're like really committed to caring for yourself, right? It's like this act, it's this gift that you give to yourself. So I wanted to see it that way, as like each day when you take this 5 mile walk, each day where you make the decision to eat the whole foods and skip out on the oil and also help others while doing it, like not including that, but it's just such a gift to yourself.
Yeah, I see it as a purpose too. Like that's one of the things in the blue zones of people who live the longest healthy lives, lived healthy, long lives. They had a purpose every day. So, as you get older, you're young. We're like, what, 35 years age difference or something. So, you think about as you get older, society tends to devalue you and put you in a category. Like, the elderly and too old and, senior citizen. So I'm a senior citizen. I'm elderly. I'm old. I'm all those things that society has labeled people in my age group. And that's kind of limiting. And if you get, like I retired from my 30 years in the military, and then I came home at the age of 61 and I started my chef career full time. So I wasn't going to come home and just retire and not do anything the rest of my life. So, I'm a vital person. I have a mission in life. I have a goal. I have a purpose. I have work to do every day and hobbies and whatnot. So I'm not, the statement now is I don't identify with old or elderly or senior citizen or whatever. I identify with just being myself and being whatever I am today, which is a healthy, vibrant person. And it's kind of ageless. Like people don't ask me how old I am. They don't know. They assume that I'm whatever age they think I am. It might be 50, it might be 60, it might be whatever. They don't really think of my age when I talk to them, and I don't come across as somebody who's feeble-minded and stooped over and forgetful and all the stereotypes that come with aging. I think we can bring a lot of those things on ourselves if we don't decide that we're not going to let society dictate who we become as we get older. So I'm all for, if I were coaching people, which I do some coaching, I always try to tell people to establish an identity that they want, not one that someone else has set for them. Because remember, for 35 years, I was a clinical social worker. So, I was a therapist to many people. So I have this in the back of my mind. I know a lot about self-esteem. I know a lot about cognitive behavioral change and about how to help people have a better self-image. And so, I try to combine that with all my healthy eating and healthy cooking stuff. So it's kind of a well-rounded thing that I want to do in life.
Yeah. And I relate to that without like the not letting society put you in a category. So I'm going to talk about the defying disease,
Okay.
right? So at 28 years old, I got a diagnosis of MS, and that diagnosis is a heavy one. Like it's almost like a lot of, well, I don't want to speak for a lot of people, but sometimes what might occur is folks will embody that. It's like, oh, I get a diagnosis, and then I'm destined to be disabled. I'm destined to be unhealthy. I'm destined to be XYZ, fill in the blank, whatever, right? And so when I found plant-based eating and a plant-based lifestyle, I lived like a wild and crazy life. And I was a math teacher. I was a high school math teacher. So like I functioned in society's boxes. I was like, okay, I'll go to college and show up in whatever way society wants me to, and whatever. And I did. And then I get this diagnosis, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like the worst thing to ever happen to me. But I didn't really have a purpose. I was a teacher, and like, yes, I related to the students, and it was lovely and it was fun. And I didn't feel like that was my purpose. So I get this diagnosis, and then I'm like, but hearing about you talk about the purpose, when I got the diagnosis, I took a month off of work because I became quite disabled. I couldn't walk. My mom had to help dress me. It was quite traumatic. It was actually extremely traumatic. The whole thing was terrible. And my mom had to dress me, and I couldn't go to work. Everything hurt. My hearing sounds, and I had 30 students in the room teaching in Detroit, and it was just like, it was too much. I couldn't do it. So I took the time off work, and I couldn't hold my urine. It's very, like, when I say this thing about dignity, I felt very like, I couldn't go to the car and make my way back upstairs with groceries. I lived in an apartment without like wetting my pants in the elevator. I was 28 years old. Like that really takes a toll on my dignity, my self-confidence. I'm like, oh my God, if someone sees that I just wet my pants in the elevator, like I'm so embarrassed, and that's when I decided. I was like, well, everything's going to change. Everything that we're doing. I lived the standard American lifestyle. I ate fast food. I ate junk food. I did drugs. I drank alcohol. I didn't have this purpose. And then I get this diagnosis, and my whole life is just like, what is this? And then I started watching Oprah Winfrey. I would just watch her all the time, and I was searching for it. I would watch Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey. I had all this time. I had a month off work, and then it was Christmas break, so it was almost like a double, like 2 months. And I would just watch Oprah, and she was talking about like, find your purpose, find your purpose, find your purpose. And I was like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? What's my purpose? And then I realized, like, I'm a beacon of health. That's my purpose. Like, my purpose is to have a comeback story. My purpose is to revitalize myself, and then to teach others, and to teach others how they can have a comeback story too, and how amazing their comeback story can be, right? And so then I decided, I was like, okay, well, I'm still a math teacher. I'm going to like fulfill this duty of mine. And then I found you, actually. That's what happened. I was like, become plant-based. I have to be plant-based because I'm going to heal the MS. And I have done so, and I continue to do so. And I was like, I found Chef Julia. She's making these plant-based burgers. It was my first taste of plant-based, and I was like, wow. It was a sweet potato. I think the base was like, you could choose your own base. There was like all these options. You just make really wonderful recipes. That course, like you could choose this, and then choose this. And so I took your plant-based burger course, and I was just hooked. I was like, this is amazing. Like, this tastes awesome. This is a burger. I want to eat this all the time. And I was like, this is my purpose. I can do this. And I started healing myself through food, through movement, through exercise. And then I kind of became like this purpose. I became obsessed with it. Like, I'm going to be a personal trainer, and I'm going to help people, while I'm still doing the teacher gig. Right. So I'm like losing my mind a little bit. I'm like, what is my life? This is what I want to do. And this is another thing too, is like, it's okay to do that. Like it's so okay to be a certain way and then change and then just decide you want to be something completely different. And then I reached out to you. So I'm just going to give her a little story because it's fun.
Sure.
Then I reached out to you. So I got my personal training certificate. I became a nutritionist. I'm still doing the teacher thing. I started coaching people on the side. And then I reached out to you and I was like, hey, Julia, can you do a gig at my school? I want to get the teachers. I'm still a teacher. I want to get the teachers involved because I would always do these like health professional developments for the teachers. I'd be like, oh, I want to bring health into the school. And everyone was like, teachers, they just want to like drink and party. No, that's not true, Rachel. Oftentimes, the coping mechanism for being a teacher is drinking and partying. That's true.
Yeah.
And so I was, Julia, can you come teach this class? Can you teach this class, plant-based class? And I want the school to pay you because I was on this committee, like find health. And so I call you. And then Julia says, why don't you do it? And I was like, what? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you're like, you could probably do it. You did end up doing it, which I was really happy for. You did do it, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yes, it was super cool. But that's like you ignited this spark in me. You're like, why don't you just do it? Like you could totally just teach the class. Like you could do it, Rachel. And that really like shifted my perspective. And now down the line, I'm living well. With MS, I actually don't even like to speak that. I don't even like to speak that I have it anymore. I have healed from it. I am healing from it. There's a lot of power in the language.
Yeah.
And now I'm a life coach who teaches other people how to implement this health, to defy disease, defy everything, defy society, and like live in their purpose. And you're a huge milestone in that for me. Why don't you teach the class, Rachel?
I remember saying to you that I thought, well, you're so dynamic and you already know a lot and you're a good speaker and, you come across really well. You could do this. You don't have to be, a professional chef or an expert. You know a lot already, so you'd do just as well as I would, and you're there. You should do it. And then you were kind of like, oh, no. And then you just decided to start doing more stuff and, posting about it online and doing your social media stuff. And, at first there wasn't a lot of activity. And now you've got nearly 4,000 people on your business page. So, how long ago was that? Was that like 2019 or something? Or 2020? Yeah. It was before COVID, wasn't it? Or was it?
It was right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe it was 2020. I don't know. But, I was happy to do it, but for some reason, I just had this feeling that you needed to do what you wanted me to do. I don't know why I had that feeling, but it looks like I was right because you've been doing really well. And the most important thing I think is it's something that you're good at and you like doing, helping others and, really delving, you're taking a really deep dive into the coaching part. Mine is more, I'm a chef, I went to culinary school, I want to take a deep dive into the cooking part. And I like that. I'm really good at the other part because I did it for 35 years. So I could counsel anybody about anything anytime I was even a hypnotherapist. I could do anything. But I don't want to do that anymore because I did it for 35 years. I want to do more chill stuff like hanging out with you and cooking food because to me that's fun. It's not work. So I appreciate that you're starting out in a career where you're, doing a deep dive into how to transform your life because that's really important. I love doing that all the years I did it, and I saved people's lives. I did stuff that was really important those years, and you're going to do that too. You're probably already doing it, and there's a lot to be said for that. And food transform lives too. So between the two of us, we're changing the world.
I love it. It's so fun. Like this is and people, you can, whoever's watching this, you can do it. You can change the world.
Mm-hmm.
You can change
Yeah.
your life. You can change your career. Um,
Of
I'm
course.
a
Yeah.
trained math teacher, and now I'm a life coach. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
life coach who chef jacket because she's hanging out with Chef Julia today.
Yeah. Hey, why not?
But like you said, like I'm really doing the deep dive into the coaching. I love
Mm-hmm.
the one-on space. I love
Mm-hmm.
empowering people to change. I love being people's number one
Mm-hmm.
fan. I love people think not. I love people knowing that I am their support, that I have
Mm-hmm.
their back. Um, it's so fun, and that's the purpose, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like it's our purpose, which is help people find
Mm-hmm.
their health, find their voice, find their authenticity.
Yep. That's right. Well, I'm really proud of you. And I'm not surprised at all that you've come this far because I saw it in you in the beginning. And it's funny how, maybe I helped you out a little bit in the beginning telling you to read Crushing It, which you apparently seem to have done, crushed it. Because I remember saying, read this book, it's called Crushing It. These people, this guy, he was a young kid, and he told his dad, they had a wine business, and he told his dad, hey, Dad, we need to do wine reviews on YouTube. And that was before anybody was watching YouTube, and his dad said, no, that's stupid, son. He said, no, let's do it. So they sat there, just real simple, at a table, and they talked about their wines at their wine store. Well, business went from very little to like gigantic booming success. They made so much money from his ideas. So the guy wrote a book about, and it was, the book was really, it's kind of how I live my life, kind of like, you're constantly doing stuff that is important to whatever it is you stand for, to your brand. So even though I'm, retired age, and I could be just sitting around binge watching Netflix, I hardly ever watch any entertainment. The only time I do that is like at night around 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. I sit down with my husband and watch TV for about an hour and a half because that's what he likes to do. And we watch different series and stuff. And we sit with our dogs and we enjoy that couple of hours at night. But other than that, I am always working on staying healthy, getting healthy, eating healthy, shopping for food, writing recipes, posting about them, doing reels, doing YouTube videos. I could go on and on, but everything I do is around, my brand, about my life, about what I do, because I like it. It keeps me totally engaged in life and not living in the sidelines or, you know, getting rusty and whatever. And I like to learn, because of you, Rachel, because you helped me whenever I need any kind of technical support. Like I got Ecamm and I was like, I can't figure out how to use this. And then you helped me. Or I don't know how to, do such and such a thing. And then you show me. So things that I have trouble with, you have become a good resource for me. So, it's funny how when you help somebody out, then whatever you give comes back to you. And I think that's a great life lesson, that the more we give, because in the beginning, I just, I had no obligation to you. I was just giving you whatever I had to give you to help you get started. And, it was not, it was kind of like, I charge people money to give them information. So it was like, now I like her. I'm going to help her out. I'm going to be like her mentor. And it worked out. So, glad it did.
Me too, and it's been such a lovely ride. It's been like 4 years now,
Yeah.
where we just continue to grow in friendship. Super
Yeah.
fun, and it's ever evolving. You're way more consistent than I am in terms of like your Chef Julia, and your like this is what you do. I started off like really like I want to be Chef Rachel Detroit, and then I started getting into the coaching, and now I'm really finding my grounding in Rachel coaching. I'm really
Mm-hmm.
proud of my coaching business. I want this to grow. I want it to like I want to reach so many people and help so many people
Mm-hmm.
in coaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and that's another thing too. It's like that with my clients, some of them, they'll come to me and they're like stuck. They're like, well, I've done this forever. This is how I've been forever. And, you know, in my response is like, and so what? Like, and that's okay that you've done it forever.
Yeah.
And then now, like, we can do something different, and being flexible and being open and
Yeah.
receptive to what the world is giving you.
Yep. Well, you know, I think you've come a long way, and I think the important thing is you find your purpose in life, and then you know, put the energy into it that you have, whatever you're willing to put into it, and watch it grow. And then when it gets to a point where you're happy where it's at, then you have to keep, you know, it's like, you know, your plants. If you neglect your house plants, they die. So you kind of have to keep nourishing them and feeding them and watering them, and, you know, they'll continue to thrive. So there's never a time where you can just, well, I guess you could, but I don't see a time where I'm willing to do nothing just because I can. Because really, you know, I'm retired. I have retirement income, and I'm in a position where I could not ever work, and I would have enough money to pay my bills, so I don't really have to go out and work, which is a wonderful blessing that I have. But it's not luck. It was because I worked my plan my whole life so that that would happen. And now, you know, that I could sit back and just, you know, take a permanent vacation that would not fulfill the whole blue zone kind of daily purpose that even the 100-year-olds had. When they went around and they interviewed people that were 100 years old, they were still out meeting with their friends every day. They had, you know, little groups of social gatherings. And right now, I meet with 3 other women every morning. They walk with me. I started out by myself. Now these 3 other women are there every morning. We walk together. And we've become like that little social network. And those kind of things have been found to be very sustaining for longevity, is having a close-knit group of friends. So, you know, the
Really?
people, yeah, really important. So, you know, sitting at home and doing nothing because you're retired and reading books and, you know, shopping or whatever. I have friends who do that, and they're depressed. You know, they're sad, and they'll tell me, they'll say, oh, I'm so bored. You know, I just don't have anything to do, and nobody needs me, and the kids don't live close by, and they never come to visit. And, you know, it's, you know, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. And it's about creating, like, and that too is like some folks who have a diagnosis like MS. You could easily make a decision to and depression is like a symptom of MS. It's a common symptom because when your brain is inflamed, when depression comes
Yeah.
in, it's like that it instigates depression, and it's a common symptom of MS. And so you could make the decision. I could have, like, so many times, you know, like I could have easily chosen, I just want to, like, be depressed and feel bad for myself and be sad. I can't walk
Yeah.
well. I don't have control of my body. Instead, it's like it's making a decision to choose a purpose and live that purpose every single day, and building relationship and building connection. And it's purpose is beautiful. And I remember when I first got diagnosed with MS, this is silly why I did it, but it's why I did it. There was this, like, study, and they were like, come do this MS study, and we'll give you a $20 gift card to Whole Foods. And I was like, I'll do it. Like, I'll do the study. So I go, and they ask me a series of questions, and I remember the questions were like, do you have faith? You know, do you have a faith-based practice? Do you believe in something greater than yourself? You know, and they really focused on relationships, and there were health outcomes.
Yeah.
And it was at Wayne State University in downtown Detroit. Rode my bike there, and I was like, I have MS, and I'm going to get this Whole Foods gift because I love vegetables.
Yeah.
But it's a huge deal, and the science is behind it. The science is there.
Yep.
It
That's
really
true.
is.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're doing well, and I think it's really nice that you don't identify yourself as a person who has MS or is in remission or whatever you call it, because that kind of makes me think of how I don't identify as an older person. I'm trying really hard not to bring up age, with people like I do in my business, because people are curious about the benefits of the plant-based lifestyle. And so if I tell them, my age, then they can see, oh, okay, well, obviously, you're doing well if you're at your high school weight and your skin looks good or whatever, and you're following this way of eating. So for that, I do it, but like in other situations, I don't, because I don't want the conversation to be about old age. I want the conversation to be about life, about, well, what have you been up to? What are you doing? Where are you going? Traveling, having fun, doing something to help the community, whatever it is, those things that matter to me. I want the conversation to be about that, not about a disease, not about about aging, and older people will make the conversation about aging and aches and pains and diseases and, everything you can think of if you let them. So I have to really try to get away from that myself, because I don't want to spend hours talking about everybody's diagnoses, and especially since I'm healthy, and they don't really want to hear that. In fact, I think it's kind of interesting how people who are not in the mindset to be healthy don't really want to hear about healthy people. It's strange. Have you found that, Rachel?
Oh yeah, and I love how you said people who are not in a mindset to be healthy, because I really believe that this might get some blast back at me, so internet people don't get mad, but I do believe that disease is manifested in your mind. Like it's why I no longer want to identify with it. Like
Yeah.
a diagnosis that I received a couple times. I don't want the world to think I'm crazy, but actually it's what they do. A couple times I was like, oh, they misdiagnosed me. Like it feels better for me to think that I don't. The MRI says, yeah, it's true. The MRI has lesions and whatever. That's fine. But if I want to live this life where I affiliate with the lesions on the MRI and the diagnosis, and it's like you said, people thrive off of the negative.
They do, yeah.
Those are what I'm interested in. Those aren't my crowd. So that's why I love this crowd. I love like the crowd I'm beginning to that I've cultivated, people like you, who are invested in health, in growth. The Rachel Detroit coaching community I'm building, people who are interested in bettering their state, versus living low.
Yep. I feel weird because I'm looking at you on my laptop, but the camera is up here, so I'm looking at the camera and then I'm looking at you, and it looks kind of strange, but I'm trying to watch you, but I know if I'm looking at you, people see me looking down. Tricia said, did you say downtown Troy? Are you in Albany? No, she said Detroit. She heard you say Detroit, downtown Troy, Detroit, Rachel Detroit.
Rachel Detroit from Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah.
And Detroit's a tough little spot to be. It's a tough little spot.
I've heard that. I haven't been there. Well, maybe I have, but not in a long time. Well, so let's talk about the bundle for a minute before we sign off.
Let's
we've got our bundle links in the comments, so you can scroll up, and both of them are in there. So
it didn't. I don't think it let me post it. Did it let me post it?
I see it. Yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's there. Yeah. So either one, if you decide to get it, remember it is only going to be going on till March the 10th. So if you miss it, you can't ever go back and get it. And if you get it and you don't have time to look at it, you can download it and look at it anytime. And it doesn't even take up that much room. You can download it on a flash drive or on your iPad or wherever you want it. It's very easy to use. So it's kind of like if you were wanting some new content to spread out over a whole year, this time you could get it 99% off. So it's kind of a no-brainer that not getting it is kind of like, bypassing a really good opportunity. And you get Rachel's 5 ebooks, which are great. I'm going to cook her. Is 6? Oh, I thought it was 5. 6
There's
ebooks.
6 and a free live Lebanese cooking course on March 16th.
All
If you
right.
buy the bundle, sign up for this
Great.
course. It's 2 hours long, and it'll be fun because I am fun.
She is fun. And I'm going to make 2 of her recipes. I guess I'll make them when we go live on Saturday. I'm going to make your Japanese sweet potatoes with almond butter and your Fiesta cheesy potatoes, just for fun.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't usually, I make my own recipes a lot, but it's fun to see what other people have come up with. I never would have paired those things with a Japanese sweet potato, but I'm going to see how they taste. I'll do a taste test. What are you going to make on Saturday when we do our chef cook-off, or whatever we called it? Battle of the Chefs.
Battle of the Chefs. So I'm going to do some cookies because
Okay.
I'm a sweet. I'm going to do some cookies, and then I'm going to pick something from your Japanese ebook.
Okay.
I'll pick some. You haven't chosen yet.
All
I haven't
right.
chosen
That's
yet.
fine.
You choose 2 from mine. I'm going to choose 2 from yours.
Okay, that'll be fun. Yeah.
And we'll cook and eat them together.
Okay,
It'll
that
be
sounds good.
Cool.
I've been eating stuff like I made these this morning, the gluten-free cookies, but the ones that are really hard, I'll show you. These are, I got to get these out of my house, Rachel. These are Chef AJ's Goodman's peanut chews, and
Well,
they are so good. They were not that easy to make, I have to say, but they're beautiful and they're good. So I got them on this special platter, and I'm going to take them to, I have a meeting on Monday with the Texas Chefs Association, our monthly meeting. And so a bunch of chefs will come. I'm going to take it and set it out, and everybody try some of these, because if I keep them here, I'll eat them. And, I like them, but I still have some others in my freezer besides these 2. So I still kept some, but those are kind of dangerous, because they're the kind of thing that, once you eat one, you want to go back and keep eating them. These are kind of like that too, these little chocolate peanut butter cookies. And I'm going to take those too, because I don't like to eat a lot of stuff here.
What I've loved making, it's not really cooking, but what I've loved making from the bundle are the smoothies. I'm a smoothie freak. I always have a smoothie on, not kind of. I always have a smoothie on hand, and there's a ton of new ideas for smoothie recipes. And this is the thing about the bundle. If you don't want to always cook like a big old meal or a big dessert, there's so many light salads in there. I am a vegetable freak. I'm a salad freak. I'm not super into like the beans and the grains and potatoes. Removing away from them because I kind of, my body switches up. And right now in my current thing, there's a ton of broccoli recipes. There's a ton of salad recipes. I'm going to make on my Facebook tomorrow. I'm going to be making in the Indian cookbook. There's broccoli pakora. I miss Indian food so much.
Yeah.
On my thing tomorrow, I'm just going to make a ton of Indian food and have like a wonderful Indian chutney festival by myself.
Hey, that's a good idea. I was looking at that book. Hey, I have to read a comment to you. Penny bought the bundle, downloaded and printed some things, and she's going to make Rachel's gooey chocolate banana cookies later today.
Oh, so, good. Yeah, they're really good. They're good, and they're like so healthy because they're sweetened by bananas.
And Tricia said, thanks for addressing my question. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Many blessings to you, beautiful souls. Thank you, Tricia. Thanks for watching us. We appreciate it so much. So, you kind of gave me the idea to look back at that Indian cookbook, Rachel. Are you talking about Broccoli Mom's book?
Yep, there's so many.
Okay. I looked at that and thought it was really good.
I think that's worth the whole $50. It's like 112 pages long. There's so many voices in there. I'm going to lose my mind tomorrow. So I'm going to do a little plug for myself. If you want to watch me cook Indian food tomorrow, Rachel Detroit Coaching on Facebook. follow my page. That's what we're doing tomorrow. It's going to be an Indian festival at my house. I can't wait.
That sounds good. I may have to copy you and find a couple recipes in there myself because I'm going to go live every morning at 9 o'clock on my business page, YouTube, and do a cooking demo. Like this morning, I did the cookies. I've been making a smoothie a day from Fruity Eva's smoothie book, and so I've been doing Fruity Eva's smoothie book, and there's one called Smoothies and Spice, and I'm going to make something out of hers, I think the next day. So I'm doing a smoothie a day. Today I made strawberry smoothie, and I had my husband, it's funny, I told him, I said, if you ever go to the store and find a good deal on strawberries, blueberries, or raspberries, buy them for me because they're so expensive. And so he came back from the store with a huge container of organic strawberries and 3 containers of raspberries. And I was like, whew, I'm glad you spent your money on that. So anyway, but I made the fresh strawberry smoothie, and it was really good. So I love the idea of smoothie a day during the bundle week. And I'm in a live stream every morning. Tomorrow morning, I'm not sure yet what I'm going to make, but I really love your idea of the Indian food. So I might look at the Indian thing too and pick something. I'll probably pick something totally different from you. And then I have a bunch of recipes picked out for the bundle week that I'm going to make. Like I'm making tortilla soup from Chuck Underwood's Brand New Vegan. And I'm making matcha nice cream from Raw Chef Yin. And I'm going to be making Lissa's Raw Food Romance wraps. But I have to go to the store and get some sweet potatoes and a couple other things, and I have a dehydrator. So her wraps, you put a bunch of stuff in a blender, and you spread them out on a silicone sheet and put them in the dehydrator for 12 hours. And it turns into a gluten-free, wheat-free wrap. Who knew?
And it's raw.
And it's raw, but it looks cooked. It's stretchy and it looks fantastic. So I've always wanted to make that. Well, her wrap ebook is in the bundle. And if you bought that whole course separately, I think I don't know if it's $75 or something. So this is why the bundle is so great, because there are things in it that I would have bought before for full price, and not even thought twice about it because they're so valuable. Like that Broccoli Mom's book, a 300-page book or whatever it is, that's worth whatever they charge for it, $49.95, I don't know. So that's why the bundle is so great, because there's so many things you can get that you would have paid the full price. Like, people will pay the full price for my new ebook and the 2 videos because they like my stuff or whatever. So if you're going to pay that anyway, you might as well get the 149 other things that go with it. So that's kind of my spiel on the bundle. Rachel, do you have any final words about the bundle before we sign off?
Same with my live cooking course, right? It's the value is there anyways. You just get so much value. I just think that the bundle is a wonderful way to get to know a variety of plant-based influencers, internet people. Find your people and lean in towards it and try new things. It's very experimental. And I'm going to give myself a plug if that's okay.
Sure.
If you want, you can go to my website, RachelDetroitCoaching.com.
Put it
I'm
in
taking
the
you
comments, Rachel.
It doesn't let me type in there. I have to.
Here, I'll do it.
Okay, I have to click a bunch of things and go through the group. And
tell me what it is.
RachelDetroitCoaching.com.
Detroit Coaching?
Yeah, RachelDetroitCoaching.com. And I offer free consultations. So it's an hour-long coaching consultation and hangout where you get a taste of my coaching. We see if it's a good fit. It's completely free. There's no obligation. You're going to feel better after you leave. I guarantee it. And then we might work together. It might be a great fit. And so buy the bundle. And I'm grateful that we had this conversation. It's been a blast.
It sure has. Okay, well, I've got to get ready for my next bundle thing. I'm going to do a video on miso soup balls. that you can put in the freezer, and then whenever you want miso soup, you just take the little ball out and throw it in a pan. So I'm going to work on that, and
Awesome.
hopefully we'll talk more in the next few days. Okay,
All right.
and
Happy.
I don't see any other comments, so I'm going to go ahead and end our broadcast. So thanks a lot, Rachel. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.